no plans at all. Evil man's always transcending. Fighter like sheep, swallow everything. Always simpletons or pretending.
This is your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. A while ago, I brought you a video which gave you breaking news from roughly 13 years ago. It was about the Martin Luther King assassination civil trial, and tens of thousands of people found that really old breaking news jaw-dropping. Well, now I'm bringing you some more old breaking news. And no, it's not that the CIA finally admitted they caused the 1953 coup in Iran, which they did admit the other day. But that's just kind of funny because they've been denying that baby was theirs for 60 years, even as it grew up to look just like them. No, this breaking news is more of a thesis. It's called The Shock Doctrine, and it's a book by Naomi Klein, which came out in 2007. It's one of the leading books on how the power elite, butthole bankers / politicians, operate, how they're able to remake parts of our country and other countries in whatever image they like. Reading it is kind of like owning the instruction manual to an 80-story robot that's crushing your society. It doesn't necessarily mean you can stop the robot's boot from coming down on your head, but at least you know its weak spots. Tickle him just under his sack. The Shock Doctrine says that remaking parts of the world into an unfettered, untethered, free market capitalist nightmare of Lindsay Lohan proportions is not always easy to achieve. Most of the time, the little people, meaning the 99.9% of us who don't have millions or billions of dollars, get upset when you try to eliminate every benefit of the government, every restraint on its power, every union and worker benefit, every right of the people against police abuse, those kinds of things. Whenever the disaster capitalists try and push that stuff through, it's met with some resistance. There are laws in place, some people get upset and say things like, "We've had this right for 400 years, we're not giving it up now." And basically, elites hate how much democracy slows down their pillaging. And let's be honest, there is nothing worse than being mid-pillage and then it's interrupted by protests and voting and other stupid shit. So you have to put your pillage on hold, put your spiked club away, snuff out your torch, and then sit down at the negotiating table. Do you know how hard it is to sit down in a pillaging outfit? I've sat on my dagger 3 separate times. But then the disaster capitalists like Milton Friedman figured out the answer. How to get around all that democracy shit. Wait for a crisis. When a crisis hits, that's when they force through the goodie bag of treats they've always wanted. And you can watch them do this over and over again after each and every major event, be it 9/11, the 2008 financial collapse, the Boston bombing, Hurricane Katrina, etc., etc., etc. And then sometimes they'll even trump up a crisis that didn't exist, like when Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker pretended the budget crisis was the worst thing to hit Wisconsin since the cheese curd shortage of 1822. He then used that to destroy workers' rights. And finally, there's other times when they create the crisis completely, like bombing the living shit out of Iraq. It was even called shock and awe. What fits better with the shock doctrine than shocking and awing the people with awesome and all-consuming bombs, then turning around and going, "Okay, we'd like to help you rebuild your country. It's a good thing we were here in your time of need." This also explains why the government doesn't need to create something like the Boston bombing. They just wait for something like that to happen and then use it to test out their militarization of our police forces and how accepting of it will be. So beyond being psychopathic, this also means that after every major disaster where a bunch of people die horribly, a squeaky yelp of joy comes out of the putrid piglet faces of the disaster capitalists. Sometimes they also have to reverse engineer a disaster when they've already taken away our rights and they have to find a way to justify it. For example, after Snowden revealed the NSA is spying on all of us, the corporatocracy goons had to find a disaster to make us believe the spying is needed. So they came up with a scary possible terrorist attack that forced them to close a bunch of foreign embassies. Phew, thank goodness we got past that scary threat. Thank goodness the NSA was here to save us in this time of need. To sum this all up with an analogy, let's say you asked your friend for all of his French fries. He said, "Go fuck yourself." Then the restaurant catches fire, everyone runs out screaming, and you realize, now's my chance to grab his French fries. Or better yet, you convince him the restaurant is on fire, whether it is or not, boom, you grab his French fries. And if that still doesn't work, you set the restaurant on fire, and as everyone runs out screaming, you grab the French fries. Thank goodness you were there to steal his French fries in this time of need. So, another title for the shock doctrine could be, "Fuck democracy, we have panic and fear." So if you'd like to fight against the disaster capitalist pillaging of the world, read the full instruction manual she wrote, and then tickle them just below their sack. That's been your moment of clarity from LeeCamp.net. Sorry my voice sucks today, but I'm trying to start a phone sex hotline. The music here at the end is by Leon Haggerty. It's another submission to the Moment of Clarity theme song contest. If you want to submit one, send it to leecampmail@gmail.com in the next 2 weeks. Also, you're going to love my new interview with Peter Joseph, creator of the Zeitgeist Movement and the movies. Click the link to watch it. Keep fighting.
At least leave us alone in our living room. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad.
Truths about how strong we are to the dangers we actually face.
I think that the public is owed an explanation.